So he purchased one seat, and the airline allowed him to board the plane regardless, and the flight attendant saw this. She claims that she was concerned, so she took the picture with her cell phone and then she sent it to her manager, and then her manager then told the staff on the plane to allow him to take up an entire row so he wouldn't pose a safety issue.
We are not asking for special treatment or luxury accommodations.
Right. I mean, look, one thing's a safety issue. Sometimes they use that as an excuse. The other thing is the guy sitting next to him, you know. I mean, look, he's trying his best not to get in his way. He really is, okay? And he's got to be super uncomfortable, probably sitting halfway on that, you know, on the seat thing, right?
So you want to hear my hot take on plus size travel and why I think every plus size traveler should get a free second and even third seat on an airplane? Then you better keep watching and sign my petition to make some real change. Let's just state facts. Plus size travelers need more space. And many people agree that plane seats are too small, even for the average size person. As a plus size traveler myself, I know how uncomfortable and unsafe it can be to squeeze into a tiny airplane seat. We are not asking for special treatment or luxury accommodations. We simply want enough space to travel comfortably and safely without fear of being discriminated against because of our size. It's truly that simple.
It's that simple. It's that simple. But for you to be comfortable, what needs to be done? And if you are comfortable, will someone else be inconvenienced? And if that happens, is that fair?
And Arthur Berkowitz knows exactly how long it takes down to the minute because he had to stand for most of the flight when he returned to Philadelphia last July. Why would anyone stand for that long, you would ask Lewis? Well, he was next to a morbidly obese passenger who was, as we know can happen, as I've talked about, spilling into his personal space, making it impossible for him to sit in his assigned seat. The flight was full. You've dealt with this, Lewis, haven't you?
Yeah, so have you.
I've dealt with it many times. And he said that the man's size required both armrests to be raised up and allowed for his body to cover half of the other guy's seat. So this meets two of the three requirements, Lewis. And you know the requirements for a passenger of size.
Yes.
Spilling onto another seat, armrest can't be down. My understanding is the obese gentleman was perfectly nice. He realized what an inconvenience he was causing. My question is this. If I have a hardcover book out on my lap during takeoff, the flight attendants make me put that away because anything more than a paperback represents a risk during takeoff or landing. It might fly back and hit someone. The passenger was standing the entire time, and that's not a safety risk?
We are not asking for special treatment or luxury accommodations.
If you happen to be sitting next to a fat person on a plane and you notice that we are contorting our bodies to try and take up as little space as possible, you can let us know that it's okay to make ourselves comfortable.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You could volunteer to lift up the armrest. That's a big issue. Don't make it a thing when we ask for a seatbelt extender. If a fat person is in a middle seat, that is so fucking dreaded for us. Like, no, it's dreaded. And you have an opportunity to switch a seat with a fat person so that they can be in a seat that's more comfortable for them, please do that.
We are not asking for special treatment or luxury accommodations.
If you see someone being a fatphobic asshole on a flight, trade with that person. Do what you can to make sure that the fat person you are sitting near is not having to sit next to someone who is being, like, actively hating on them.
Excuse me, can you find her another seat? Because I will not be verbally abused by this or anybody else. I will not be verbally abused by anybody.
Funny thing is, you screaming about this verbal abuse, but you the only person cursing.
I'm not tolerating it.
I can't sit here because there's both so big on left and right. I can't even sit here.
Do you want to come up and stand and then we'll find?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Because I can't sit like this. I just can't do this.
Okay, if you want to, just go stand in the back and we'll find an extra seat for you.
Thank goodness. Because I eat salad.
Oh my God.
You should be ashamed of yourself, man. What you're doing is so terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, I'm not politically correct.
You're not politically correct.
I'm not
Make
politically
America
correct.
great again. That's a good example.
Why don't you sit in between those two big things?
Hey, kiss my fat okay?
Really?
Who, excuse me, who do I report her to?
Okay.
You should talk to my bursar. Can you have the bursar come back? I would like to report, and I would like to file a report against her. As a platinum member, I don't tolerate this from nobody. I mean, I travel every week, and this is the first time I've ever put up with this crap, and I'm not having it. I am not starting my new year off with this type of negativity.
If you notice, it was a whole bunch of people ready to be social justice warriors and demean that lady and make her the worst lady on the planet. But if you realize, nobody switched seats with her. Nobody diffused the situation automatically by just switching seats with her, because they were all full of it.
A 3-hour American Airlines flight is going viral after complaining she was wedged between two people. Her tweet
That's how
reads,
the middle seat works.
I know that's how it works. I am currently literally wedged between two obese people on my flight. This is absolutely not acceptable or okay. If fat people want to be fat, fine, but it is something else entirely when I'm stuck between you with your arm rolls on my body for 3 hours.
Fat people know how much other people, especially on planes, do not want to be in physical contact with us. We can feel it, we can see it on your faces, we can hear it in your... groans. Sometimes we can read it on your phones when you're texting people about us.
You know, it's really messed up, and it's an invasion of privacy for you to be reading the person next to you text messages while you're on the plane. Just because you're uncomfortable with yourself doesn't give you the right to invade people's personal space, so you shouldn't even know what they're texting. I think she's totally misled on this one. She's thinking it's because she's a bigger person. But nobody wants to be touched by any stranger that they do not know. And nobody wants to be in a situation where they're forced to have physical contact with a stranger that they don't know for an extended period of time, thus being on a plane. So it has nothing to do with your size. Your size may exacerbate the situation a little bit more, but no one wants to be touched by a stranger. It's more the fact that you're a stranger than you're a larger person. Believe me, you're blowing this one up and you're placing yourself in the victim category, and your argument sounds a little bit off.
I didn't say this again, the woman on the plane did. Obviously, the tweet attracted people from both sides. Some saying she was justified, others saying that was unnecessary and mean. American Airlines did respond saying, quote, "Our passengers come in all different sizes and shapes. We're sorry you were uncomfortable on your flight." Was she justified in what she said?
And I'm not defending what she said, but somebody's got to talk for both sides. I think the airline should do a better job of explaining the rules about how those seats work. In the middle seat, you get both armrests, Lindsay. I get, if I'm in the aisle, I don't get your armrest. I get the aisle and I get my armrest. Jeff gets the window and his armrest on his right side. And I don't think people understand that.
That's a rule.
So, but anything that you have that is coming into your seat, I think you do have a right to complain about. Even if I'm 110 pounds, but I have a gigantic winter jacket on or something that's coming on your seat, that's your area. So she does have a case there. The problem with it is she's a horrible person. That's not how human beings talk.
Right.
But
she just wrote an email.
Everybody has a right to that section for the seat that you bought. They each have advantages and disadvantages.
My man brought up one of the most important points of this whole video, and is seat etiquette and decorum on an airplane. If you are in the middle seat, you have both of the armrests. That's what you paid for. If you are on the outside, you have the outside armrest and you have the aisle. If you are in the window seat, you have the window armrest and you have the window. I think a lot of people don't know this, and I think this is where the problems come into play. But what my man said was totally right. Forget how you feel about what you said. She was right. She had paid for a ticket. She had paid for a certain amount of space on that plane, and she had people infringing on what she paid for. That was unfair to her. And I'm pretty sure the airline don't care, because they're all about getting people from one place to another. And that brings me to this point. I think the point that a lot of larger people overlook is that it's only a very, very small, minuscule, probably 5'5", 120 and under, that is comfortable on an airplane. I am 6'1", 175. And one of the most excruciating things that I ever did was take a flight from Philadelphia to Las Vegas in the middle seat. Like I said, 6'1", 175. I'm skinny. And it was uncomfortable as hell. But I can't say that I demand a different seat because I have to be comfortable and I deserve to be comfortable. I paid for this. No, their objective was to get me from one place to the next place, and I had a seat. And I had a seat just like everyone else had a seat. And I had to deal with it. I had to suffer through it until I got to my destination. I couldn't demand anything extra. I had to get what I paid for. If I didn't pay for a first class exclusive seat, I got a regular seat, I had to deal with it. And I think that's what everybody else is going to have to deal with. So y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. Do y'all think that larger people should get extra seats for free? Do you think we all just have to suffer, grin, and bear it? Y'all let me know in the comments section. If you'd have made it to this point in the video, you are my MVP.
It was a stone groove, my man.
And I'm out of here.
Weight and body size is considered an immutable characteristic, which means it's something that we don't actually have control over, in the same way that folks don't have control over their, like, sexuality or race or ethnicity. They're things that are intrinsic to our being. We can't control how much space that we take up in the world. We're just trying to exist.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.